everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Grab your coffee, right? Maybe a snack, and let's get into it. So, got to bring this closer so you can hear me better. We have been talking in length about Agenda 2030, about societal collapse, and how to prepare and things like that. Okay, now the one thing that we haven't really touched on a lot is the criminal element, if you will. Okay, so, and this is the criminal element of a societal breakdown. Okay, and the most common crimes that will happen during a societal collapse. Okay, and there are 3 different categories of people that you will see start to emerge, if you will. Okay, and the first category is, there's the normal, if you want to call it normal, criminal element. All right, those who commit crimes as a way of life, okay, who see the disaster as an opportunity. With the police being tied up dealing with the disaster, they sense that their chances of being caught are diminished. Okay, then you have the second category. There is always a portion of the population who are not criminals, only because the law keeps them in check. However, something like a disaster can push them over that edge into actually committing crimes. Maybe crimes that they never would have committed before. Okay. Now, the third category, it is said that, okay, like, and I've said this before, I don't know how many times, desperate times, desperate people, desperate measures, right on? And considering that most people aren't ready for a disaster to strike, okay, now I'm not talking about people like us, people of the prepared mind, okay, I'm talking about the people who just, that'll never happen. Get my hair done, my nails mani-pedi. Okay, spending hundreds of dollars on garbage. Okay. It's easier for a disaster to make them desperate. Okay. The people, the women that spend $625 to get their hair did. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. They'll commit the crimes because they don't see any other way of taking care of their families. All right. Now, generally speaking, the first 2 categories of criminals, they're going to steal for their personal enrichment. Okay. The looters who were stealing like big screen TVs and, televisions, and during the Hurricane Katrina, if you remember watching that on TV. Okay. I remember watching that and going, is this a joke? You're gonna steal a TV. We gonna put it. Okay. That was my mindset. All right. I'm thinking, oh my God, I want to get there. I want to help people. Rescue. But that's me. Help. Not worrying about stealing a flippin' TV. Okay, now, those are the people who fall into that category. Okay? Now, while they might also steal food to eat, it will be because they see the food while stealing something else. Probably not because they're headed to look for food. Nay. They're looking to steal TVs or Air Jordans or some big ticket item that They never worked for a day in their life to earn that big ticket item. You know how all of us, we've worked our fingers to the bone literally every day since we were legally allowed to work in order to earn that money, in order to buy what we have today. No. They go out and they rob, steal, and loot and everything else. They wait for that perfect opportunity to take advantage. These are the slugs of the earth. Okay, so now in a sense, the third category is the most dangerous. The Karens with the hair and the mani-pedis. They're the most dangerous because they are driven to do what they are doing rather than it being business as normal. That means they will not follow the normal operating methods of other criminals. They will be much more open to confronting their victims and trying to force those victims to give them what they want. Whereas someone who has a criminal background of burglary, armed burglary, and blah, 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 they're not armed with anything more deadly than a pocket knife. You know what I mean? These people will probably be armed and willing to use their weapons. Now, another factor that has to be taken into consideration here is the actual disaster that has taken place. Now, are we talking about another Katrina? Or are we talking about the collapse of society? What about an economic collapse? Or a collapse of the supply chain? We've all seen how seemingly ordinary people can go berserk when that year's favorite Christmas toy has run out. Remember Cabbage Patch Kids? How about the Furby? Yeah, I remember those. What about when the kids are crying because they're hungry? So, just what sorts of crimes can we expect to commit during such times? Because each past disaster gives us clues into what we can expect in the wake of a disaster. But perhaps the best such example is a Argentinian financial collapse of 1999. Other than wars, that is the most complete disaster with the clearest collapse of societal collapse, order, right? Social order that we have reliable information about. Venezuela is a good example as well. Although the information coming out of Venezuela, it's touch and go. It's here and there. You're like, what, Now, let's take a look at specific types of crimes that will be common during a societal breakdown. Number one, scams and frauds. We're already seeing scams and frauds today, to the point where it has become commonplace. Much of that has come out because people in the countries where scams originate are desperate and not able to find work. So they turn to online scams to make money. With the ready access to the internet, which is, available everywhere pretty much, it's easy for literally anyone to get involved in online scams. Most people put their entire life story on social media. This is what I ate today. Oh my gosh, doesn't look great. I'm going here, I'm going there, I'm going here. I'm on vacation. Right? And this gives the scammers all the information that they need in order to run their scam operation. And some of these scams can even be run with the victim thinking, hey, they're my friend, or it's a family member who's contacting them. Huh? And an SHTF situation would definitely create an environment which would push more people into using some kind of scam to meet their needs. Now, if we don't take action now to remove our personal information from online platforms and protect it, then we're selling ourselves out to be a victim. So, fortunately, there are ample other people around. So if we do remove our information, they'll just skip over us and go to the next potential victim, right? Protection of passwords is critical to avoid online scams. Too many people use passwords that are on the top 100 list, like the word password as their password. How stupid is that? Then there are ones who answer the online quizzes, giving one-word answers to a list of things. What's your mother's last name? What street did you grow up on? What city were you born in? All right, this is what I'm talking about. Hackers then will use those words, trying to figure out what the passwords are for your account. What's your dog's name? Okay. This is what I'm talking about. So now you've got looting and burglary. Okay? And we've been seeing looting and burglary since 2020 all over the nation. Right? Probably this is the most traditional crime to follow any disaster, is that of looting. And criminals and would-be criminals are quick to take advantage of any disturbance as an opportunity to steal. And it's any disturbance. It doesn't matter if it's a natural disaster or some kind of uprising of something. While looting happens mostly to stores, it's really the same crime as breaking into someone's home to burglarize it. Looters and burglars aren't going to be looking for a stockpile of food. They're looking for things that have cash value. Televisions, guns, jewelry, other things that can be pawned, right? And the one good thing that can be said is that they will most likely avoid occupied homes and businesses, not wanting to complicate and having to deal with someone who's there. Now, there's a whole list of things that experts can recommend to avoid making your home a target, right? And so many that we don't have time. I don't have time to sit here and say, do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that, okay? Several of the most important of these involve not making it obvious that you have anything of worth in your home. Now, I'm not saying junk up your front yard so it looks like Sanford and Son, okay? Or, you know that you're a hoarder, or you know what? I'm not saying anything like that, okay? But if people don't know that it would be worth their time to break into your house, they're going to go somewhere else. They're going to go to that well-manicured lawn with the open curtains, and they're going to go, ooh, is that a 60-inch? Oh, Is that the newest PlayStation hooked up to that 60-inch? Okay, you see what I'm saying? So in addition to that, anything that makes it likely they will be seen as an automatic camera, lights, they're going to keep your house safe. Okay, so do you have a camera? I've got multiple cameras around my property. Do you have the motion detector lights? I've got multiple of those. Okay, I even have solar cameras. Okay, I have solar panels hooked up to my security cameras. I have solar motion detector lights and stuff like that. These are the things that you should invest in. All right. So the third thing is mob violence. Now, one of the most common reactions to problems that affect large numbers of people and their lives is to lash out at those of authority. Now, this lashing out generally takes the form of mob violence, perhaps starting out as a peaceful demonstration, but quickly turning angry and violent as people let their pent-up frustrations out and the mob mentality takes over. We've seen that for the past couple of years and how peaceful that really turns out, right? So this happened a lot in Argentina when the value of their national currency crashed. And an angry mob is a dangerous thing, capable of overturning cars, smashing the windows of stores, burning down buildings, killing people. And the key to protecting yourself from mob violence is to avoid the mob. Do you have social anxiety? I do. If I don't have to go out into a crowd, believe me, I avoid it at all costs. Okay? And they are most likely to form in places of public meeting, such as in front of government buildings, parks, town square, plazas. And those are the places to avoid in the midst of any SHTF scenario, just to avoid being where a mob might form. Now, the fourth one is vandalism. Vandalism goes hand in hand with that mob violence. While vandalism isn't something that normally happens in residential areas, it is something that may affect businesses and workplaces. There is little we can do to stop it except to be physically present in our business and ready to defend it. Even though, extreme care should be taken, as the mob may not, well, it's not may not, they don't care if you're there or not, unfortunately. Now, the fifth thing is rage crime. People are going to be angry in such times and may take that anger out on anyone they see. All right, road rage, gang attacks on the streets. Other similar atrocities are likely to occur spontaneously without warning. And these can be both group and individual attacks. And there's really no way of recognizing those who are likely to participate in them. Okay? Now, defending against such attacks requires a combination of being able to defend yourself and having good situational awareness. That's why we always say, head on a swivel, know your surroundings, right? Eyes and ears open at all times, right? These attackers, they're like creatures of opportunity, okay? And generally, they prefer to catch someone by surprise. And I'm not talking like boo or rah, it's not like that. If you're looking right at a group of people, okay, walking down the road, they're walking towards you, there's still a chance that they could attack you, but not as much of a chance if you, like, if you have your head in the phone, right? And you're, okay? Now, if you're looking straight at them and you see them, you can identify them. You know what I mean? And you know, because you know how you that gut feeling. You get the chills. You can feel it. You know what I mean? But if you're just Twitter on Twitter. Oh my God, Instagram selfie. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Those are the ones that are going to be the flipping target. All right? Now, besides being ready to defend yourself, and I'm not talking about being a ninja here, okay? Even though that would be cool as all hell. Your best course of action is avoidance. All right? Now, don't do things that are likely to, like, raise other drivers' ire, like, you know, flipping them off and, you know, especially if any of those drivers are already looking, you know, pissy, right? Avoid groups of people who look like they're together, especially if they look like they might belong to the same group, if you know what I'm saying, okay? Taking the long way around may seem like a waste of time, but an altercation with someone who's pissy and looking for someone to take it out on is going to take a lot more time. You know what I mean? So, the sixth one is carjacking. About a week ago, Jason at the Angry Prepper, he actually did a video about carjacking. He almost got carjacked. He was actually being followed for quite some time up and down streets and on a highway and everything else in New York. Yeah, some whack job. So during the Argentinian collapse, carjackers became so commonplace that people didn't stop at stop signs and red lights anymore. They'd slow down, make sure it was safe, and then boom, across the intersection they'd go. Okay, then they would hit the gas before anyone could approach their car. If they saw someone approaching their car, they would do whatever it's necessary to put distance between them and that other person. And carjackings are about stealing the car in order to sell it on the black market. That has nothing to do with you, okay? They want to make money. And that will probably mean just selling it for parts, okay? But they don't care how much money they get. It's just that they get something, all right? So, if they have to drag you out of your car so they can steal it, that's not a problem in their eyes. They'll even throw in a couple of good blows or kicks for good measure, okay? But a subset of these carjackings is when the criminal sticks their hand through the window, okay? Grabbing what they can, whether it's a phone, your purse, okay? Again, the idea is getting whatever they can for the purpose of selling it. So whatever they can grab, they will, even if it doesn't look valuable. All right? So, ladies, okay, men, you got a necklace? If you're in your car, push to the side or something. Okay? If you wear a crew neck, keep it. Okay, I'm wearing a V-neck, but you know what I mean. Stuff it in your shirt. Now, while I imagine that it was pretty effective for the people of Argentina to simply just drive through a stop sign, there is a risk associated with that. Okay, so I'm not saying Dukes of Hazzard, just woo, go. No, don't, because it's easy to get into an accident, especially if you live in a big city like I do. A more simple solution is to make sure that the windows are up, the doors are locked when driving, and then when you come to a stop, look around for anyone that's carrying something that could be used to break a window. All right, and if you see someone like that, then yeah, go. Okay, I mean, if you literally see someone coming at you with a tire iron, take off. All right. Now, number 7, kidnapping. Kidnapping for money became such a big thing in Argentina that it was referred to the country's biggest cottage industry. We've largely eliminated kidnapping here in the U.S., as that is a crime that almost immediately brings like the FBI into play, okay? And that's more than most criminals that they want to deal with now. But in Argentina, things became so bad that even the middle class children couldn't even be allowed to go outside to play by themselves for fear that they would be kidnapped. So that's not to say that kidnapping for money wouldn't come back to this country, okay, if times got bad. Chances are high that the FBI and other law enforcement agencies, okay, Homeland Security would get involved. You got all the 3-letter agencies. They would be, boom, right there. They would be so overwhelmed and overworked in the wake of an SHTF scenario. I mean, all right. Well, now, with that being the case, criminals may see kidnapping as a workable means to get money. How many times do we see on the news about these stings, these takedowns? And I'm like, yeah, get them. All right. Now, they will target mostly the rich and the upper middle class. Why? Ransom. Okay. For, kidnapping children and women. Okay. Now, should things reach that point, it will be necessary to keep your guard up over women and children. Okay. Now, one Argentinian said that he never owned a gun in his life, but he ended up buying one after the collapse just so he could protect his family. And kidnappers, they're looking for victims who are not going to cause them trouble. Not someone who's going to shoot them before they can run down the block. Now, number 8 is home invasions. All right. Now, home invasion, it differs from burglary in that it happens when people are home. Okay. Criminals who invade homes rarely work alone because they prefer to be in groups of 2, 3. Okay. You got the lookout, you got this one. They all have different parts that they play. And that gives them a tactical advantage, as they outnumber at least the adults in the home that they're attacking. Now, during the Argentinian collapse, home invaders would lie in wait, just like around the corner of the house, waiting for someone to open that door. Then they would bum rush, boom, rush in the door, gaining entrance before the inhabitants could close the door again. Now, here in the United States, it's even easier for them to gain access, as all they have to do is give our front doors a good kick. And the deadbolt is boom. Okay? So, in a post-SHTF time, home invaders will most likely be after supplies rather than riches and wealth. They'll purposefully invade homes when they are sure the residents are there, so they can force the inhabitants to give them their supplies that they have without having to search for them. To accomplish this, they will likely threaten the lives of family members. There are ways of fortifying a front door, making it considerably harder to break it into. In addition to that, care should always be taken when opening your front door, checking to see that nobody is hiding in the bushes, around the corner of the house. Diligence in seeing them before they can force their way in is the best defense against these guys. Okay? So, I hope that what I have said is helpful and you can now prepare even more, up your security in your homes for, up your security preps and things like that. Because I think that with what is coming, our security preps are just as important as our food preps, our first aid preps, preps for our entire family. Everything that we have worked so diligently to have and acquire, our security preps are just as important, if not more important, because we alone will not be able to save our preps from these criminal elements without having some sort of security. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping. And as always, fear less.